Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, May 19th. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Frank, would you like to you're the alternate, so you'd like to be a voting member tonight?
No, I'm not the alternate, I'm the selectman's rep.
It's for the selectmen, you're alternate for the selectmen, aren't you?
I am here for the selectmen, so I vote.
Right.
I am not an alternate.
Okay, originally, I thought we had it set up that way.
No.
Okay.
Steve was our ex officio.
He is, but I'm standing in for Steve.
Okay, there you go.
We have a roll call of members present. Tom Young, Chairman.
Mike Caprilio, Vice Chair.
Russell Blanchett, member.
Matt Shoemaker, member.
Frank Byron, ex officio.
And absent tonight is Michael Crodel, Jason Garrett, and Steve Perry. Is there any public input? Hearing none, we will go to the People's photography sign.
Greetings.
Jim, the legal notice for that?
Should have gone. It was noticed as part of the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
The planning board will first review receive the information to confirm the application is complete. We'll then vote to accept the application for consideration, but this does not approve the application. The planning board will then consider the merits of the application, and if acceptable, will approve the application. And who is present to present the application?
I am Raymond Peoples, 205 Charles Bancroft Highway. Sorry about that. It sounded like we're giving away the bride.
Everybody has been, everything has been set for it. What is we're gonna, the vote to approve, accept the application is complete or reject as incomplete. Anybody?
Is it all complete?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the application of People's Photography Home Occupation Sign approved to June 3rd, 2014.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass 5-0-0. If you would like to present your proposal?
Actually, I think you have electronic copies of the drawings for the sign.
Yes.
And the color and a photograph, actual image of that. You have to pardon me, I'm working from memory. I left my paperwork at the office tonight. There really isn't much to say. It's made out of high-density polyurethane. It's engraved oval shaped, a darker green in color. it is our residence and we want to keep it in concert with that. We're not going to put it on the road. It's going to be set back from the road. Further back than forward. This is not going to be any further forward than the edge of the line of our front porch right now. The exact location is outlined on the map. Give or take a couple of feet, but it's going to on digging because they did fill that area when they did the road. So we're not 100% sure what's down 3-4 feet where we're going to have to set the post. Other than that, it's pretty simplistic. I gave you an actual detail on there of the wrought iron piece for the top, and it's going to be on a metal post. So, in keeping with the neighborhood.
Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Straightforward.
Jen, do you have any comments, questions? No. There is no written testimony. This time I'll open it up to the public that has any questions or comments.
I'm sure Mrs. Peoples has to have something to say about this.
Just
My wife?
passes, so he shuts up about it.
Spoken like a true wife.
You know what they say about behind any successful man? I actually do, and I'll put that on public record, is I do have a sign that says if I didn't do it right the first time, I should ask my wife and I would have done it right. So,
She got you a great gift.
yep.
Okay, and the planning board has no more questions of the?
No.
Okay. Does the planning board wish to approve or continue on this application?
Approve. I make a motion, we approve this application.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Passes 500.
And take your wife to dinner.
I might do that.
Do something fun.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That sign looks sharp.
Let's reconsider.
What's that?
What was that?
Let's reconsider.
Do I have to sit down again? Thank you.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Moving on to the regulation hearing. Please take notice that in accordance with New Hampshire RSA 675.7, the Litchfield Planning Board will hold a public hearing tonight to consider the changes to the Litchfield subdivision, site plan regulations, along with Appendix A and I, and the land use regulations, amendments to the planning board bylaws, and adoption of a new Appendix K. This time I would like to convene the hearing. The planning board will first present information on the items for consideration. The board will then take public input, following which the board will close the hearing and proceed with deliberations. Russ, would you like to read the first one?
Excuse me, are there any copies of the regulations, proposed changes?
There's one set.
Did you end up online?
I am, yeah, you need this?
Can I steal those here?
Yeah.
Alright.
I have your
The whole packet.
paper clip there.
Just, we have another set here if you want. We're good.
We're ready to read this out? Planning Board is considering amendments to subdivision regulations, section 200. Add definitions for active and substantial development and substantial completion of a development or approved phase. Section 300. Change number of plans for submittal on subsequent plan revisions. Section 320.01. Change the filing of change the filing of applications to 21 days before the scheduled public meeting. Section 320.02. Add use of waiver request form Appendix K. Section 320.03. Preliminary review to strike 21-day requirement. Section 320.05. Change revisions must be submitted a minimum of 7 days before scheduled or continued public hearing. Section 402.00. Compliance with federal, state, and local land use regulations. Section 500. Plat submission requirements reduces the number of copies required. Section 850. Post-approval procedures changes to comply with RSA 674:39 and new definitions of active and substantial development and expiration of approved plans, vesting. There you go.
Do any members of the board have any questions? Hearing none, I'll open it up for public testimony. Are there any members of the public that would like to testify?
I want to testify, but I'd like to ask.
Please step up to the mic and state your name, please, and address.
Claudette DeRoche. No. I know you know what this is all about, but when you read it quickly, we have a little hard time to understand what it's all about. What is the purpose of all these changes?
Largely housekeeping.
Yep.
Staff had submitted some feedback to the board that there was just some things that we could do better. We reviewed, we brought these changes forward.
Now, you mentioned the 21-day and mentions 15 days. Are you eliminating 6 days, or how is that going to work?
We're realigning our approval timeline to match state law.
Is that going to reduce the number of days that the public may be aware of these filings? I mean, like if, I don't have a specific example, supposing in a neighborhood something is going to be put in, it's a big project, and the neighborhood didn't even know it was coming, but then there's a notice and they either for it or against, or maybe they just want a few changes here and there, but they need a little time to get organized, you know. It's kind of
This will actually give you a longer period.
a longer period.
Yes. Instead of 15 days as it is now, it'll be 21 days.
Okay.
So you'll have that almost an extra week.
So you're not reducing the 21 days to 15?
No, we're going from 15 up to 21.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I also noticed something about, I mean, there's so much in here that it's hard to kind of grasp it. I also noticed that somewhere along the line, I saw this in the paper, you don't need to file your plan with the Register of Deeds. Is this something they do now, or?
That's part of the site plan regulations, which is next.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. All right, I will let this person speak. You have any more questions?
I have a question, but it's really not related to this.
Just gotta come up to the mic if you're gonna.
This way the audience watching at home can hear what's going on in the room as well as the board hears you.
Oh, okay.
Can you just state your name?
Diane Sherman,
Where do you live?
Pilgrim Drive. I'm just wondering how many subdivisions are in the works already.
None.
None?
We're not aware of at the moment.
But
It's already
this,
approved. It's got approved a year ago.
Yeah.
the one on
That's in
Albuquerque?
Albuquerque?
Oh.
It's not a development.
Oh, it's not?
That's just logging.
Oh,
I'm aware of.
Yeah, they're harvesting timber.
And what about on Page?
That's no development, there's no plans for that piece of land right now. It was sold on auction.
So that was just, but it's cleared, being cleared, and they're putting roads in? Or I was
The owner of the
here
land has
too?
a right to clear cut their land if they want to, but it was purchased. The board has no plans that we know of right now.
Oh, I see.
Nothing's
Okay,
approved. The only
okay.
approved development going in is Nesting Cake, Yaml Drive.
Well, yeah, that's already, yeah.
Yeah, but that was approved 2 years ago and last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, just because, I mean, there's logging going on. I mean,
Oh, all
the
right.
owner has the right to do that. They want to.
And I didn't know if there were any talk of moratoriums, like some of the towns further north have on any kind of development.
I don't think we had enough to stop it. There really
Enough.
hasn't been much the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, the total number of homes is 50. I don't hate to even say the last 10 years.
I think they were either 3 or 4 in the last year for single homes.
3 or 4
3 or 4.
homes?
Yeah.
Single,
And
no,
one of them,
Hamel Drive.
was a lifting and putting the foundation under it.
I think he's referring to outside of subdivisions.
Yeah.
Oh,
outside of
outside of
subdivision.
subdivision.
Just, I don't think there was there was a growth ordinance 2007, 8, somewhere around there. No, before that. There was a growth ordinance, but I mean, my personal opinion, it really isn't that much growth to curtail because there really,
There really isn't. Oh, okay, because I thought this was going, and I thought Page was going, and I thought, whoa.
no, I mean, there's nothing in front of the board to be approved at this
Mhm.
point, so.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no.
Are there any more questions from the public? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Are there any further questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to do,
To accept the changes, approve the changes
Just a subdivision.
of the subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the amendments to subdivision regulations, section 200, section 300, section 320-0.01, section 320.02, section 320.03, section 320.05, section 402, section 500, and section 850, as discussed in this meeting, and in this hearing, pardon me.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Opposed? Abstained? Passes 500. See if Matthew will do the next one.
Chairman wants you to have a turn.
All right, so we're on site plan review regulations.
Yeah.
So we're proposing the following amendments to site plan review regulations. Section 115, add definitions for active and substantial development and substantial completion of a development or approved phase. Section 140, change the filing of applications to 21 days before the scheduled public meeting. Section 140.2B, add use of waiver request form Appendix K. Section 140.2C, preliminary review to strike 21-day requirement. Section 150, change number of plans for submittal on subsequent plan revisions. Section 175.1.1, remove requirement for site plans to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Section 175.1.2, 4 paper copies of approved plat to be submitted. Section 175.8, post-approval procedure changes to comply with RSA 674-39 and new definitions of active and substantial development and expiration of approved plans. Vesting.
Does the board have any questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, I will open the public hearing. Is there any members of the public that would like to speak on this?
Sometimes the wording. About Delosha. Sometimes the wording is a little confusing because you'll have like 1224 and it all kind of runs together. You're not quite sure. I think it's 24 months because the 12 is stricken. And another place you had 54. Plan is valid for so many years, but the way it was written, it almost looks like it was valid for 54 years, and I don't think that's what it meant. I think it was within 5 years, changing from 4 to 5.
I think it just has to reference the exact spot where it exists
I think
currently, so
so.
you legally can track where it was made.
That's right.
So those numbers can't really.
I think it's just an issue of how the strike-throughs are displaying on the printed copy.
Oh, I'm looking at a clean one.
Yeah, they
Okay.
sort of run together, and you're not sure exactly
where it stops.
what year you're talking about. Like in one place, it's 1224 runs all together, but then when you look a little farther down, it looks like it's 24. The 12
Okay.
is stricken. Another place, it was 54, but then in the parentheses, it looked like the plan was approved for 54 years, which I don't think is what you intend at all.
Anything that's stricken should have a line through it, and anything that's added should have a line underneath
know.
it.
We could blame Microsoft if you want. It's easy enough to do. Thank you.
Yeah, it's one that always trips me up when I'm reviewing documents. I
Like
always
where it
just-
ends.
Yeah, I go just for a clean final copy as I do my read-through.
Yeah.
And then after I've done my first read-through of it, I'll put the comments in and see what's changed.
Is there any more public testimony? Hearing none, we'll close the hearing. Are there any further questions of the board? If none, could I have a motion?
Motion to approve the amendments to the site plan review regulations as just discussed. Do we have to name them each individually?
Just the numbers.
All right, so motion to approve site plan review regulation, section 115, section 140, section 140.2B, section 140.2C, section 150, section 175.1.1, section 175.1.2, and section 175.8.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500.
How many do
Yeah.
This is different than what I have.
Easy
here.
one.
Yeah, you might,
This is challenging.
you guys should be using the version that's online. Yeah.
Oops.
Thanks.
Do we need to redo that?
I think you're good. There's not, like, your motion was missing section 151 for the site plan review, but that was it. And you were a little bit more specific than the updated version online. So it was
So it was missing 151.
negligible. It was missing that 151.
Would you like us to make a motion to approve that?
Just amend it, the motion.
All right, motion to amend prior motion to include section 151 of the amendments to the site plan review regulations.
Second.
There we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
500.
I have this
Yep.
here. Plan board will look to amendments to Appendix A, road design requirements. This is section 5.6, road maintenance bond, correct errors in the bond example. Exhibits B and C, remove requirement for granite curb at intersections.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public or testimony from the public? Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing. Is there any more questions from the planning, from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the amendments to Appendix A, road design requirements, section 5.6, and exhibits B and C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Passes five, whoop. Yes, Frank,
No, go ahead.
you have a question on it?
I have a question on it, yeah.
Okay.
At least the version online says the bond required for 1,000 feet of roadway at the time, and the ENR is 5,500 is calculated as 1,000 feet times $15 apparently per foot, I'm guessing, times 9,870 divided by 9,500. How does that translate to fit?
I don't know, Lou did the math.
Does it,
Should we have checked Lou?
see what I'm saying?
correction came straight from Lou. So,
I think what he did is he corrected the, he corrected the equation, but he did not correct the verbs that describe the equation.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
oh, yep,
For Stanzi?
yep. It's just the one number though.
Yeah, but that's what caught my eye, because I was looking to find
Mm-hmm.
the 5,500, and I couldn't find it.
Let's just double check the math too while we're at it.
And if, I'm assuming the ENR, there should be also a definition where you get the 98,700 and the 9,500. I'm assuming the
That's correct.
9,500 is the ENR, and the 9870 is a new ENR that you're trying to go to.
Right.
But there's no explanation of that in your verbs
Well,
and
let's
nouns.
double check if that is already in a previous section.
Sorry,
So this, because
Happened to
this is
catch
only
this when
paragraph
you
D,
called the vote.
so there's 3 paragraphs before it.
so the 5,500 was the new ENR, and apparently what we're trying to do is calculate back to an ENR that was used or set in the past as the standard, which would increment the bond amount per, I'm guessing it's per foot.
Yeah, it looks like per linear foot.
So the ENR adjustment factor should be the ratio of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 5,500 is the new ENR you're trying to calculate to,
Right.
and the 5,300, which is there originally.
And that's in paragraphs, the 5,300 is mentioned in paragraph C, so we have a correction to paragraph C and D.
Should I withdraw my motion so we could reset?
Yeah, so we have to,
But to withdraw my motion?
Second.
See what I'm
Frank, if you
saying?
want to make the motion, if you know how to change it, I don't.
Well, I know how to change it, but there's also a bunch of new wording that's gotta go in here, because it should explain how you're doing.
Yeah, the math.
I mean, it's not clear why I know why you're doing a calculation,
Yep,
but it's not clear, why, and I think
table it then.
what Jen's saying is there may be some other paragraph above this paragraph C that's also in conflict now, that's gotta be fixed. So that may mean you're gonna have to go back and rehear this, I guess, and redo this, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
That was a really good catch.
You get a motion to table it?
Wait, so, do we need a motion to table it to take it off the docket for future consideration?
You can probably make a motion not to accept it.
Can you continue the hearing? Or do you have to renotice
I think
or
you
something
have
like
to
this?
probably renotice.
I think so too.
So we have a motion to not accept it then, and go forward with that? So it's officially rejected from the board?
It doesn't mean you can't redo it at a later time, it just.
Right.
Yeah. No, it should be just for clerical purposes, officially rejected as
Just
a board.
kill it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't hurt. Or table it. If you table it, though.
We're still gonna have to
you
reject
should-
it.
You should renotice it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, the public has information that you're gonna consider this.
Incorrect.
They have a copy of this change.
Yep.
Right,
And what you're saying is, you ought to make a decision public that
yeah.
expresses you're gonna accept or decline this change.
So we should decline the change
I think so.
and then get back and revisit it.
I think that's the best way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So do you make a motion to accept it and everyone says no, or do you make a motion to?
Do it either way. Whatever you
I'd like to vote
like.
no for one sec.
I'll make a motion to reject amendments to Appendix A, road design requirements, Section 5.6, exhibits, as well as exhibits B and C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes 5-0-0.
Next item for consideration is amendments to Appendix I, conditional use permit. Add new sections to help applicants provide all information required in the existing land use regulations.
Excuse me, any questions from the board? I'd like to open up for public testimony. Anyone who'd like to speak on this? Not appearing, we will close the public hearing. Are there any further questions from the board?
Does this contain any time limit on here of the 21 days that you just accepted? This is conditional use permit, never mind. It's got nothing to do with your site plan.
Oh, yeah, is that an incorrect timeline in number 8?
Yes, but we can correct that now. Actually, hold on.
You gotta come to it for the real one.
I don't think you can change the 15 days there. Because a conditional use permit is.
It's different than.
It's different. It's from, it would be from a specific provision within your zoning ordinance, and you cannot change those deadlines from your zoning ordinance.
Okay.
So you'd have to leave it as the 15 for now. Let me, well, before I make a liar of myself. Let's even see that if it's in the zoning ordinance itself. Because if that is just a piece that's on the form itself, that's separate. Deadline's not there. Is that one? It's in the zoning ordinance. Section 406 shall be submitted 15 days prior to the scheduled hearing.
Okay.
Good.
So it stays as 15. Unless you want to change it at town meeting.
Can't change it tonight.
I don't think
Change it
that one, I
tonight.
don't think that one is gonna be that relevant anyway, that one. Could I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to accept the amendments to Appendix I, conditional use permit, to read as, to add new sections to help applicants provide all information required in existing land use regulations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, passes 5-0-0.
Next item are amendments to the planning board bylaws, require application submission be 21 days prior to scheduled meeting.
Does the board have any questions? This time I'd like to open up the hearing for public testimony. Is there anyone that cares to speak? That being so, we will close the public hearing. Does the does the board have any other questions? If not, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept amendments to the planning board bylaws requiring application submission be 21 days prior to a scheduled meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
You're amending the bylaws, but you require a 2/3 vote of the entire voting membership of the board?
To amend the bylaws.
So how many members do we have in total?
4 out of 7.
5?
5 counting you, yeah.
So it's 5 out of 7.
Okay.
Do we have a second? Yeah.
It was already seconded.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
You're in the vote.
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Ayes have it, 500.
Final item is the adoption of a new Appendix K, new application form for site plan subdivision regulation waiver request during application process.
Does the board have any questions? This time, I'd like to open the hearing for public testimony. Seeing none, we will close the hearing. Does the board have any questions, or if not, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the adoption of a new Appendix K, new application form for site plan subdivision regulations, waiver requests during application process.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Passes 500. And that concludes that piece. Next, we'll have some committee reports. Last Friday at the NRPC, we heard from Eversource and Spectra on their pipeline projects. I do have their PowerPoint, and I will be distributing that to the board. It's very interesting. The new plans they propose are picking up all of the power stations in New England that are gas-fired. And this is a project that will be going into construction in another year and a half, approximately.
Now, where would that be cited?
Along their existing right-of-way. There's basically the power plants that are on it. I didn't get it electronically in time today to get it passed out to everyone.
Now, is this an existing gas
It's
pipeline
an
corridor?
existing corridor.
Okay, good.
They're removing a 20-inch gas main and replacing a 42-inch gas main.
42.
Yeah. Aside from, I believe it's 15 miles will be outside of their right-of-way. Everything else will be in their existing
Everything else?
right-of-way.
I've attended their presentations.
You want to see it?
And we allotted each one an hour, approximately 45 minutes to speak. We talked with Eversource from 2 to almost 4 o'clock, and Spectra was involved in it. So it was a very informative meeting. We will be having some other people coming in to speak at different times, so I will keep you informed. Are there any other committee reports?
I have a question on the pipeline. This
Yep.
is in perfect time. Has there been any discussion on what the potential benefits might be to Litchfield? I know I was not at the last meeting, and prior to that, there was a sort of a lack of understanding of what any proposed benefits might be. I know that the detriments are outlined in our letter.
At the present time, from what it looks like, there is no plans to increase the gas services in Litchfield. So, that's going to be something down the line. They will be starting their scoping hearings this fall. And thanks to the state legislature, sent a very nice letter to them that they would like them to go to any town that requests them to go. To have a hearing. So we'll see how that works out.
And all the research I've done, I've seen no benefit to Litchfield.
Can I see that presentation again? I thought I saw something on top of that. I mean, not that it would be more of a global benefit that I think they're trying to, I'm just trying to think of what's gonna be presented to us in terms of the opposite side of that argument at some point.
Yeah, well, this is not Kinder Morgan. This is Spectra
Okay,
and Eversource.
gotcha.
This basically is on the power supply end of it
Gotcha.
for the generating stations.
Okay.
So nothing on this will go through Litchfield.
Gotcha.
The route shows it,
Yeah,
avoiding
up
New
the
Hampshire entirely.
coastline.
Yeah.
Well, it cuts through the corner of New Hampshire. But
Okay.
you will have laterals off of that. They'll come out and feed different power stations as they change over. Like to, have we had a chance to read the meetings from April 21st?
Yep.
I didn't see anything, did you?
I didn't see anything, no, it looked really good.
Did this just get tucked in here? Is this not an item,
Which one?
the master plan update?
It's been part of the list. All
Okay, so it's
along, but
okay,
it's not,
gotcha. It's not something we have to discuss today.
no, it's not tonight's work.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the planning board meeting held on April 21st, 2015.
Do I have a second? I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
203. Russ and I approve.
We were there for that meeting.
Are we keeping a full schedule for the summer?
Well,
If you-
we're gonna, have to take a look at it and see what the load is. Like the last meeting I canceled. Because it was only just the one signed permit and that was it, so. I don't know what the next one looks like, do you, Jim?
What would you like to be on the agenda for the next meeting?
Are there any applications the next few months?
None that I'm aware of, having come in yet. Joan may know of any that might have come in just for a preliminary inquiry, but not formally. That's not saying that there are any. I haven't heard of any. Otherwise, I mean, we could start working on the master plan, and obviously we have the one minor correction there to make to Appendix A. It's not a huge time-consuming piece.
Do we have any other business, Jen? Do you have?
No, I think,
Okay, Russ?
did Russ have something?
Yep. At the last planning board meeting, we voted in opposition of the Kinder Morgan pipeline through Litchfield, and I was given the task to produce a letter to be signed by the board and submitted to FERC and others. I have that letter here. I brought a couple of copies that we can all pass around and sign. Look it over. It's been in the meeting folder in one form or another for a few days.
Sign them all in one.
We can just sign one copy and I
Yeah.
can get photocopies of it, or we can sign a few and send them off to our favorites.
And the letter as posted on the site from May 18th is the Same version. No changes in there.
The only change that I made to the final copy that we're signing this evening is I put today's date in.
That's good. Makes it valid.
Yeah.
We can have Joe and get the other, have the other one stop in.
Yep. All right, we've got a letter submitted. I'll see to it that Joan gets this, and the members who are not here for the meeting this evening will have the opportunity to sign it
Yeah.
and submit it.
And make a copy for all the board members.
Yeah.
Or electronically even.
Yeah, I'll make sure that gets distributed to the board.
Jen, do you have anything else? Frank, do you have anything?
Yep.
Okay.
There was a question earlier today about appointing the ex officio member to sub in for the missing member. You should be aware that under 673:11, designation of alternate members, it reads as follows. Whenever a regular member of a local land use board is absent, or whenever a regular member disqualifies himself or herself, the chairperson shall designate an alternate if one is present to act in that absent member's place, except that only the alternate designated for the city or town council, board of selectmen, or village district commission shall serve in place of that member. So, what basically it's saying is that only the selectmen can appoint an alternate to the planning
For the
board.
ex officio.
Right.
Yep.
So, just to clear that up.
Well, we're glad they appointed you.
Ah,
It was low man out.
yeah, actually, it's true.
Volunteers
You
step
don't have to
forward
admit
and
it
everyone
though.
else step
You could
back.
just know what happened.
Something like that. That's all I had. The only other thing, just to give you, I saw that you had on your site, your, potentially something on the budget. Just, we may be, it's not firm yet, we haven't discussed schedule or anything, but we may ask for the budget early, slightly earlier than normal, by maybe like 3 weeks or something like that, just to let you know.
No problem, I'll get my chairman right on that.
Yeah, just send me a note. So we have nothing else? Entertain a motion?
Take a motion to adjourn?
It's kind of early for that.
I
Second.
know. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes 5-0-0. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The next meeting will be
June 2nd.
June 2nd.